Welcome to Module 4 assignment. This is Tim Smith, and we're discussing leadership theories. And so the first one we will be looking at is the contingency leadership theory. So what is the contingency leadership theory? This is where the leader chooses an optimal course of action based on internal and external situation, utilizing a style that is most effective of the four leadership styles. The contingency theory requires the leaders to be flexible. Not every leadership style is applicable to every situation, so they have to choose their appropriate style. The variables associated with this theory are capability and motivation for followers, personality traits, behavior, and experience for leaders, task, structure, and environment for the situation. Now, an example of the contingency leadership theory is in Europe. It is a very diverse um, population in a space roughly equal to about half of the landmass of the US, but with considerably more people. There are 448 million people in the EU, the 27 member countries of the EU, compared to about 331 million for the entire United States. So they have a lot larger population and a lot smaller landmass, so much higher population density. And there are a wide variety of ethnic groups, religious backgrounds, um, cultures. Everything about the population is very diverse, and so one leadership style or approach is rarely effective with working with such a population. So any businesses located in the EU have to be able to effectively manage such a diverse population and be able to maximize performance to achieve the goals of the company and for the individuals. The next theory is the continuum theory. And the continuum theory was evolved in the 50s by Robert Tannenbaum and Warren Schmidt. They stated there is a continuum from the boss-centered to subordinate-centered leadership. So boss-centered is based on forces in within the boss and in the situation, whereas subordinate-centered has the forces centered in the subordinates themselves. The variables associated with it are the leader, the followers, and the situation. So similar variables to the previous theory. Another consideration, even though it's not listed as a variable, it is actually very important in the continuum theory, is time. And one of the big factors here is that a compressed time frame in which to accomplish the task will affect the style utilized to do it. So in a very short time period, there may not be time to canvas the subordinates or the followers and have them participate in the decision process. So in a compressed time situation, autocratic leadership styles are often utilized. They look at the situation, the time frame they have to accomplish it in, and they make a decision and move forward on that decision. Now, the next leadership theory is the path goal leadership theory. And in this theory, it was developed by Robert House in the 70s, who built on work done by M.G. Evans. And the primary orientations are task oriented and people oriented. And This theory does not have a leader trait in the associated behavior variable. So this is very much different than the first two theories that were presented, because both of those had strong leader elements in them. So this one depends on the use of one of the four leadership styles, and the leadership style chosen has to be the one that's most effective to motivate the followers in order to get peak performance from them and accomplish the task. And so the variables here are the styles, not the leader, the followers, and the situation. So a research company, as an example here, is seeking to win a contract with the federal government. And the team leader is using an achievement-oriented leadership style to motivate the researcher. Now, part of the motivation is if they secure their funding, they get bonuses and they get millions of dollars in funding to continue the research. So it's very important that they hit the goal. So if they miss any of the milestones in the project, then they won't win the contract. They don't get the money and they could lose their company and their research positions. So achievement oriented leadership style here is an ideal orientation for doing this task. So path goal was very effective there. Now section 4 is the leadership substitutes theory. And this is a very interesting theory. It was advanced by Stephen Kerr and John Jermier. And the basis is that there are situational variables that prevent leaders from affecting followers' attitudes and behaviors. So, if the situation is such that a leader is either effectively eliminated or neutralized, then it entirely falls on the subordinates, the employees, to manage the situation themselves. Now, this approach actually gave rise to self-managed teams in some corporations. And anytime you have a group of people working together, you're going to have what's sometimes called natural leaders or informal leaders rise up. There's going to be someone within the group that takes an an effective leadership position without having the title. So there's only two variables in this theory: followers and situation. And within the followers are the subordinates, and within the situation is the task or organization. Some examples of this in use is you have a team that are managing themselves. So either like a committee style approach, a democratic approach,